billionaire Dmytro Firtash said Putin cannot win in Ukraine. He said, "He is never going to come out victorious. No matter what happens, Russia will lose. It's time to stop. There will be no victory. The longer this war takes, the worse it will be for the Russian people. Not just for the Ukrainian people." His comments come after wealthy Russian businessman Oleg Tinkov condemned Moscow's crazy war in Ukraine, saying 90% of his countrymen did not support it. Fellow oligarch Oleg Deripaska in March called for peace and warned Russia would be different after the conflict which has raged since February 24. In an interview with NBC News, Mr. Firtash, 56, said he was never pro-Russian, adding, "But you have to understand that I am a businessman. And my goal is to earn money. That's my job." Asked if he worried he was risking his life by speaking against Putin now, he said, "It's hard to say. But my understanding of this is simple. I don't really have a choice. To believe that in 2022, in the center of Europe, that such a massacre can be taking place, no normal person could believe it." Mr. Firtash has been fighting extradition to the US to face charges of conspiracy to pay bribes in India. He lives under house arrest in Austria and strenuously denies any wrongdoing. Britain and fellow allies of Ukraine have imposed far-reaching sanctions against Moscow's wealthy oligarchs and political elites since Russia invaded its neighbor. On Wednesday, Russia banned 287 MPs from entering the country, accusing them of fueling Russophobic hysteria in Britain. The move sparked a defiant response from Prime Minister Boris Johnson. Mr. Johnson, who was banned from Russia on April 16, told Parliament, all those 287 should regard it as a badge of honor. The sanctions list includes ministers Jacob Rees-Mogg, Amanda Milling and Penny Mordaunt as well as Common Speaker Sir Lindsay Hoyle. Russia's foreign ministry said the sanctions were in response to the UK imposing similar restrictions on 386 members of its own lower house of parliament on March 11. It added in a statement, "These persons took the most active part in the establishment of anti-Russian sanctions instruments in London and contribute to the groundless whipping up of Russophobic hysteria in the UK." The Kremlin had singled out Mr. Johnson as the most active participant in the race to be anti-Russian. Moscow warned London this week of a proportional response if it continued to provoke Ukraine to strike targets in Russia. Foreign Secretary Liz Truss said on Tuesday it was no longer good enough only to supply Ukraine with defensive weapons to combat Russia's invasion. She told Parliament, "For too long, there was a false distinction between defensive and offensive weapons. It became an excuse for some to drag their feet. That time has now passed." In its latest briefing, the Ministry of Defense states that about 20 Russian Navy vessels, including submarines, are in the Black Sea. It notes that the Kremlin is unable to replace missile cruiser Moskva, the sunken flagship of the Black Sea Fleet, because the Bosporus Strait remains closed to non-Turkish warships. However, the statement warns, despite the embarrassing losses of the landing ship Saratov and cruiser Moskva, Russia's Black Sea Fleet retains the ability to strike Ukrainian and coastal targets.